Alright guys, welcome back to Urge. Alex, Jameson. We are finally on our last domain for Cleric in our subclass series of 5th edition
Finally.
D&D. Make sure we specify that. 5th edition D&D. There's Pathfinder people and there's other things out there. This 5th edition, what we're working on here. This one, of course, being the last one, is the War Domain Cleric, which is, it's beat face Cleric, basically.
Pretty much. Alright, first up, level 1, you get bonus proficiencies, you gain martial weapons, and heavy armor.
Yes.
Alright, also at level 1, you gain War Priest.
Yes.
This lets you use a bonus action to take an extra attack on each of your turns. But you can only use this once per wisdom modifier that you have. At a 20 skill, you're only hitting, 5 extra attacks a day.
It's an okay ability, but
having that limit on it.
When
other classes actually get extra attack.
Yeah, at level 5.
It kind of it's
lackluster.
Yeah.
It's
watered down extra attack.
Right. It's pretty good early on, but it does not scale well. I think it's a really good way to put that through. Level 2, first use of Channel Divinity, is Guided Strike, which is a really cool ability, I think, actually. It allows you to use your Channel Divinity to give yourself plus 10 to an attack roll. The great thing, what makes the ability better than just what that base is you can wait and see to what the roll is, and then decide if you want to use that Channel Divinity to then buff it plus 10. You don't know whether it's a hit or a miss, but you do know, if you roll a 12 to hit, and you're like, I don't think that's going to hit, then you can decide to use your War God's Blessing. Give it plus 10, becomes a plus 22 to hit, and if that doesn't hit what you're trying to hit, get out.
You're probably wrong.
Because there's only about 5 things in the original monster manual that doesn't hit,
yeah,
and they're titled Ancient Blank Blank Dragon, or Tarask. So if the 22 is not gonna hit it, get the fart out. But yeah, so it's cool. It's nice use to your Channel Divinity, I think. Channel Divinity again at level 6. So some of these domains are getting 2 uses of Channel Divinity. Some only getting 1, but versatility. This one would be War God's Blessing at level 6, which is the exact same thing as what you get at level 2, but instead of just being able to target yourself, you can target anybody within 30 feet of you. So if you see a friend of yours, especially if it's a crazy barbarian running in through with his big giant axe, or it's a paladin coming through who can use, the spell slot to do extra damage and come through and just wreck something, it's like, oh, but they roll low. Especially if they roll like a 3 to hit, plus whatever their modifier is. And then, let's go ahead and give that plus 10 to make sure it hits, especially if you're trying to finish off a boss at low level, things or low health, trying to really help it out like that. So, gives you some good versatility. You can use yourself or somebody else within 30 feet with that Channel Divinity. This is a War Cleric. It's trying to buff yourself and your allies to do better things in combat, and both those things work pretty well together.
Alright, then at level 8, we're going to get, again, Divine Strike.
Shocker.
Just add a d8 to your attack rolls. This damage type is actually equal to the same that your weapon is. So if you have a bludgeoning, piercing, slashing weapon, it's just going to add an extra d8 of that weapon.
Straight physical damage. No
and then
lightning, thunder, cold, fire, whatever.
And then at level 14, again, it scales to 2d8. Yeah. Alright, lastly, your capture ability, Avatar of Battle, for level 17. You're just going to gain resistances to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical weapons. So kind of, you just become an all-time raging barbarian.
Basically.
Essentially.
Yeah, without having
you gain rage without having to rage.
Right, which...
Well, at least the that bonus of it, not the
extra damage. But the defensive bonus of it, which I think is a neat ability.
Yeah, I think it can let you actually, like, if you don't have a barbarian in your party, you could probably get by, but by the time you're level 17... kind of late to the party.
It kind of
when a barbarian gets to level 1 with rage.
Yeah.
So
I mean, granted, it is a passive, so it's not been any uses or anything like that. You do have heavy armor, so it does make you the tankiest of all casters in history of D&D. But like I said, that's what it is. It's just simple. And and we looked at this whole subclass. This whole domain is really baseline simple, is what it does.
So now to the scoring section.
Yes.
We have the 3, as usual, roleplay value, combat value, overall class synergy.
Correct.
First up, we have the roleplay value.
Yes.
Not really a whole lot here in the roleplay department, unfortunately. So we're gonna actually give it a 2 out of 5.
2.
And people might say, well, you can RP, giving War God's Blessing. But the thing is, you can RP any of your spells.
You can RP Disguise Self if you want to.
Yeah, you can RP any of your spells. It's not actually adding anything with these abilities
Right.
to your RP.
Correct.
It's not giving you any special circumstance abilities like creating illusions or, you know, spawning things and, you know, all kinds
Right.
of craziness some of the other classes get. It's just, you know, you're beating stuff with a stick,
Right.
basically.
On the combat side of things, this is very much a combat-themed domain. There's no question about it. We gave it a 4. You may be thinking, okay, well, how's it not a 5? It's all combat, it's all combat, it's all combat, which is accurate. Every ability it gets, it's all combat-based on its level-up abilities it gets. But, in kind of discussing back and forth with how things gone, to us, there's a lot of decent and good abilities.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's great. The only thing that may be close to that would be the channel divinities are really good use, I think.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of versatility in what you can do with combat. And this, of all the classes that get Divine Strike, this is by far the worst one to me.
Yeah.
Because all the other ones has some kind of an elemental damage added to it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less common for something to resist elemental damage than it is just to resist piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning damage. There's a lot of stuff that resists that, period, let alone resist it from non-magical source.
Yeah.
So, we're going to go with 4 stars. It does buff it a lot, but it's missing out on like something great. Like we gave the Tempest domain 5 stars because it had multiple really good abilities for making it an absolute machine
like
on the combat
when you compare
side.
maxing your spell damage to, like, you can use plus 10, it's like, yeah, it's comparable, but maxing your damage, like, imagine, like, because you could give yourself plus 10 to hit, and you're like, yeah, I get to roll 3d8, and you roll 3 1s. It's like, you just basically
You guaranteed
whiffed.
yourself to hit with 3 damage, correct?
Yeah, it's just not in the same ballpark.
It's just not. You're talking. This is as a sports guy. It's just like dealing with minor league baseball, like AAA baseball, and the major leagues. These guys are good, but they're not pros.
That's an analogy. Lastly, we have the overall class synergy. Again,
Come on, let's use our brain.
All right.
What do you think it's going to be? It's
That's
going to
right.
be a 3. Yeah, you guys are come on.
you guys are so funny.
Goodness.
Again, it's Cleric, just the way Cleric works, man.
Yes.
It's so open-ended. Just a 3 out of 5. Again, doesn't really hurt the class a whole lot. Doesn't really help the class a whole lot. It just is another option that the class gets.
The Cleric is a very open-ended class that allows for arguably the most versatile of all the casters for what it can do. You've got domains that can be in there and beat stuff with heavy armor and martial weapons. You've got stuff that they can do illusionary things. You've got one that can do a little bit of everything. So that's what clerics can do, is be a little bit of whatever they want to be. Well, guys, the time has finally come for us to end our cleric run on domain. We've done all 7 of them now. So we thanks so much for joining us through the series. We look forward to stepping into a new class with Druid coming up around the corner. It's going to be nice to break away. As somebody who's playing a cleric main, I'm glad to see something else on the horizon. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a like. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to let you guys know when we post something new. Always feel free to comment on the videos. Let us know what you liked about the video, what you didn't like, content you want to see in the future. As always, thanks for watching.